Hey everybody, it's May 15th, 2020 here in Oklahoma. We are in the middle of our spring storm season that pretty much goes from April through June and then occasionally pops up at various times of the year. But for those of you outside of Oklahoma, especially if you're from the coast or up north, there may be a few things you think of when you think of Oklahoma. One, maybe you remember the Murrah building bombing we had in 1995 where 168 people died. Maybe, thanks to Netflix, you now think of Joe Exotic Tiger King. Thanks a lot, Netflix. Maybe you think of the musical Oklahoma. That's a great thing. But I know for a lot of people, when they find out they're moving to Oklahoma, they panic and think about tornadoes. Or they call their mom and they say, "Mama, I'm moving to Oklahoma." And they say, "Oh no, baby, you're going to die." Well, it's really not all that. I mean, the movie Twister from 1996 is not fiction in its entirety. However, it's really not like that living here. So when people call me and they are moving from Oklahoma, and I say, "What are you looking for in your next home?" They say, "Oh, we want 3-bed, 2-bath. Oh, and we have to have a storm shelter." Well, that is not a bad thing, and you can get a home with a storm shelter. But I want to just go ahead and break the news to you. We don't all have storm shelters. In fact, I would bet that less than 50% of us have storm shelters. And unfortunately, I can't find statistics online that tell how many of us have them. I've been in real estate 16 years, and I would say that when I first started, hardly anybody has a storm shelter. But in the last 7 years, we've had a lot of companies start installing them, making them more affordable, and it's becoming more common to see them in homes. So I would say that probably, if I were just guessing, that 50% of us have storm shelters. So if you're making that your must-have thing for your next home in Oklahoma, I want to tell you that you should start saving up some money and to not make that the top criteria on your home search. Think of it more as the cherry on top. If you find a home you really like and it has a storm shelter, bonus. If it doesn't, then you can plan to buy one after you get here. A storm shelter can go anywhere. It starts at about $2,400 for the smallest, most affordable. And then it can go up however big and beautiful you want it to be. So typically, most of us have a storm shelter that is made out of steel and it's installed in our garage floor. Those are the ones that start at $2,400 and then go up to about $4,000 depending on how much you want to pay and how big you want it to be. So most of us have those so that you don't have to go outside to get in your storm shelter. You just pull your car up a little bit and then the door slides open and you all go down into it. They're very small, but one thing you should know that when we're in our storm shelters, we're only in it for a few minutes. It's not somewhere where we're going to go hang out for a whole day. So maybe this will give you peace of mind. We are the #1 state for meteorology. In fact, the University of Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, has the #1 meteorology school in the country, so I've been told. So, when we have a storm day, it's like a major sporting event. It's like game day and the playoffs. We have the major news stations all have their weather teams, and they go into work high-fiving and fist-bumping. How many lives are we going to save today? And we're going to be the fastest and the most accurate. And we watch weather all day and all night. So how you tell if your family loves you or if someone loves you is if there's a storm coming they call you or text you and say, hey, you watching the weather? That is real love in Oklahoma. So you know when a storm is coming here. If you have the weather on, we know down to the minute when the storm is going to hit. So we get prepared, and 5 minutes before we go into the shelter, and when it's over, we leave. So so you don't need a big space because you're not going to be down there very long. And I can tell you that in the 6 years that I've had a storm shelter, we've only been in it twice. And we've never been, I've lived here my whole life. I am over 30. And I have never been directly hit by a tornado. I've seen several. But we have, if you are not wanting to crawl down into the garage storm shelters, we do have above ground safe rooms that are usually steel or concrete. People put them in their garages, or if they have a big closet in their house, they can convert the closet into one. Those are more expensive, of course. We have companies that make them outside, like what you see in the Wizard of Oz, where they go to outdoor cellar. Those are a bit more. And then, of course, if you're a doomsday prepper, or if you're really neighborly and want to have the neighborhood parties when there's storms, you can do a massive bunker if you want to and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. But if you're moving here and you find a house you love, know that you can add a storm shelter for as little as $2,400. Some of our local banks and credit unions even offer financing for as low as 1% interest. So, like I said, when you move here, if you're worried about moving here, storm shelters are not that expensive. 2, we are weather watchers. It is a major event on TV on storm nights where you will know down to the minute when the storm gets here. We also have sirens very close by all over the state, so that if one is coming, the siren will go off and you will be aware, and you will have plenty of time to take shelter if you need to. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you peace of mind. I'm happy to talk about it. Know that like I said, I've lived here my whole life, and I didn't get a storm shelter until just a few years ago. But they are good to have. They give you peace of mind, but it's not a criteria like I want a 3-bed, 2-bath house and a storm shelter. It's something to plan for, and it's a bonus, a cherry on top of the cake. And I hope you enjoy this video. If you want to know more about moving to Oklahoma, come back next week, because next week I'm going to post more videos about what it's like living here in Oklahoma and buying and selling a home in Oklahoma. Thanks.